And moving on, in an apparent attempt to provoke India ahead of Independence Day, Pakistan's envoy to India, Abdul Bashith, has once again raised the Kashmir bogey. Speaking at the Pakistan High Commission in Delhi today on Pakistan's Independence Day, Abdul Bashith said that Pakistan will continue to support Kashmiris till they don't get their rights. Hostilities along the border have increased. Pakistan has repeatedly violated ceasefire, opening fire at 3 Indian posts in the past 48 hours.
जम्मू और कश्मीर का जो मसला है वो हम मुज़ाकरात से उसको हल करें और ये बात भी अपनी जगह यकीनी है कि जब तक कश्मीरियों को उनका हक़ खुद इरादियत नहीं मिल जाता पाकिस्तान उनकी हिमायत जारी रखेगा.
And there have been angry reactions from across the political spectrum. Let's listen in.
As far as the issue of Pakistan and the talks are concerned, and as far as the statement of the Pakistan High Commissioner is concerned, I believe that the MEA would look into this issue. As a party spokesperson, I would refrain from making any comment.
Now I want to bring in India Today's Shuja ul Haq from Srinagar for the latest. Shuja, provocations from across the line of control. There have been repeated instances of ceasefire violations, of course, south of Pir Panjal. And you also have cases of Asiya Andarabi and Dukhtarane Millat waving Pakistani flags, singing their national anthem. How is the government reacting to this?
Well, Gaurav, you know, if you look at the bigger picture here, this has become a huge embarrassment for government to sort of answer every time there is an incident like this. And the major cause for this is the fact that the government is formed by two very important political parties, PDP and BJP. And if you remember, BJP has been very critical when they were not in government about elements who are related to separatism and how previous governments have been dealing with them. So now when they are in the government, they're facing the same critical question from opposition, from parties who are questioning their inability to tackle it. A lot of people are also questioning the fact that whether BJP has now come to realization that Kashmir and Jammu and Kashmir as a state is a very different ball game altogether to be in power in. There needs to be strategic abilities, there needs to be policies that need to be framed specific for the condition and the environment of the state of Jammu and Kashmir. You can't just have tall claims and then when on the ground you actually are at the helm of affairs, you realize that this is a different ball game altogether. So that is
stay
the
with me
basic
for
point.
a moment. There is
all
news.
These factors.
Yes. There's so much more coming in. A 20-hour-long fierce encounter in the Kandi area of Rajouri was caught on camera. And this was a gun battle that broke out between Lashkar-e-Taiba terrorists who'd infiltrated and the security forces. And look at these pictures. These are spectacular images of how our brave soldiers killed Pakistani terrorists. 2 Lashkar-e-Taiba terrorists were killed. Of course, you also had 1 security force personnel injured in a 20-hour-long encounter in South Kashmir's Pulwama district. This encounter started after the police, the CRPF and the Rashtriya Rifles launched a joint operation. The slain terrorist was identified as Shaukat Ahmed and Gulzar Ahmed, both residents of Pulwama. And my colleague Shuja ul Haq with me on this big story. Shuja, you covered this encounter. The security forces laid a cordon. The encounter started in the evening, lasted through the night, and then the next morning was in the paddy fields. Describe this entire encounter for us, Shuja.
Well, Gaurav, it was one of the most difficult operations that was carried out in recent times by the security forces in Jammu and Kashmir. It started in the evening and then carried through the entire night. In fact, let me tell you that the militants who were holed up initially in a house actually managed to flee, and then they entered into this huge paddy field between the two villages in Pulwama, and that is where the tricky part lied. The entire paddy field was surrounded surrounded by security forces. There was the huge contingent of army, CRPF, police force that were brought in. In fact, at one point of time, I can tell you that unmanned aerial vehicles were used by the army to pinpoint the location of these two militants inside that paddy field. And once that location was pinpointed, the commandos were sent in a Casper vehicle, in a
mine
bulletproof
protected vehicle,
and then they absolutely mine protected vehicle, and then onwards they carry out this operation. You can see in these visuals it was a very, very difficult operation to carry on, and as you were pointing out, two militants of Lashkar-e-Toiba, both of them local residents, were gunned down in it, and both of them had huge baggage in terms of how they were wanted by the state police in state of Jammu and Kashmir.
For the moment, many thanks for joining me. Brilliant operation, and a joint operation that was carried out by the Jammu and Kashmir police, by the CRPF, and of course the special forces of the Indian Army along with the Rashtriya Rifles.